awaken to your truth that you are the I Am presence in harmony with the divine. You are consciousness beyond what the body and mind identify. This is Moment to Moment. Host Linda Hope will remind and enlighten you to know your divine nature. You were born into the body already aware, but forgot it as you expanded your sense of identity, ego mind, pattern behaviors, and habits. Stop sleepwalking and wake up to your timeless, eternal, formless self. Now, your host of Moment to Moment, Linda Hope.
Hello, namaste. So happy that you are here now, present with me. Yes, this is going to be an amazing show because I love this topic. It's about creativity. And a lot of you are going, oh no, I'm not creative. I wish I were. I wish I could sing. I wish I could paint. I wish whatever your wishes are. You know, you could probably say, I've never drawn anything at stick figures. That's all I can draw, right? I hear that a lot. But by the end of the show, you're going to be creating something that you're going to be proud of, number one. And number two, you're going to know that you are creative. Everyone is creative. I can testify to that. I know that to be my truth. That creativity lives within every one of us. And why do I know that? Because we are all one, and we are all presence, and we are all consciousness. That's our fundamental nature. I say that in every show. I hope that you tune in and hear that again and again and again, because it's easy to forget. It's very easy to forget. I'm in the same boat that you are. Some mornings, some days, I just live in the personhood. It's not really a very good place to live on a regular basis. No, really, because you really see a lot of contrast as a person, don't you? A lot of duality, a lot of changing your mind, changing a lot of activities, very changeable, really not dependable. No, but as the presence that's watching all of this, you're the constant. You're unchanging, and you're coming from that place of spaciousness, the place of oneness of divine energy. And that's your power. And from that place, creativity lives. Creativity lives there because it flows through you. Now, have you ever had an idea pop into your head? Think about it. Have you had an idea pop into your head? And you go, wow, that was a pretty cool idea. Where'd that come from? Well, I'm going to tell you exactly what that process is. That is called the unconscious helping the conscious. And when you're unconscious, which most of the time we are operating from the place of the unconscious. 90% of our day, I've read this somewhere, and I haven't quoted it from any source, but I read it, that 90% of our habitual ways are from the unconscious mind, because unconsciousness is all about habituated pattern behavior, and that we are governed by that. We are controlled by that pattern behavior. And a lot of times we don't even see it on the screen of perception. It pops up and it goes. And all of a sudden we go, why are we doing that? Why am I here? What am I doing again? Why? And you're surprised by your own by your own behavior, because most of it is a reaction to experiences that you've experienced throughout your life, and it just happens. You get triggered, a person says something, and just comes out of your mouth. And you go, whoa, why did I say that? Why? Because you were unconscious. And all of a sudden you woke up and heard yourself say, that wasn't very nice, right? Or we've all been there. We've all been there. But I've made it a really my lifelong, up to now, This is my mission, to bring out creativity within myself, which is already present, and to enlighten those also in that creative power energy that you have. And I wrote a book about it for children called Jackie and Creativity Go to School. And I'm going to introduce you to my characters in a little bit. I will. But first, I want you to get your paper and pencil out, or pen, even better, because then you can't erase as you go. You just have to put it down and own it. Okay? So I want you to take your paper, pencil out, or your pen, and come back right after this commercial. And I'm going to show you, yes, you are indeed creative. Be right back. You're listening to WLTK-DB Live Talk Radio. See you soon.
Are you looking for unbiased and uncensored paranormal and spiritual talk? At WLTK-DB.com, we offer several talk shows ranging from self-care to hauntings and everything in between. Find the shows and hosts on our website at WLTK-DB.com. You can watch them live or catch up on your latest favorites. While you're there, be sure to check out the store and pick up some of the latest station swag. Did you know we had a station blog, or that you can host your own show? It's all online at WLTK-DB.com. Looking to advertise? Check out our competitive pricing and let's get you noticed. WLTK Talk Radio has something for everyone. So be sure to stop by and say hello at WLTK-DB.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Moment to Moment. My name is Linda Hope, and we're talking about creativity. Now, creativity really exists within all of us. It's that clear place of presence. When you are in the zone, as they say, that's what artists are. They're in the zone of creating. There's no distraction. They're in every brushstroke. They're looking and experiencing in front of them, mostly visual, but sometimes they'll smell something or they'll touch something, right? And they're creating that immediate response. And there's no or nothing that can distract them from that creating process. And you can also say that musicians are the same, absolutely. Gardeners, you go out and you garden, and all of a sudden the time is, wow, past. The whole afternoon's gone, and beautiful flowers you're planting. You're in the zone again. Athletes too. What are they doing? They're in the zone. They're creating. They're the basketball players are hitting those 3-pointers, and they're totally right now in the zone when they're doing that kind of precision. People that climb mountains, they're so present. They know exactly what they're doing, and they can't be distracted because they're going to fall. So there's that place of inspiration when you are so in the moment and you can feel that energy, that spaciousness, and inspiration starts to just come naturally, and imagination starts to flow. And the child within you is really activated, because in this moment, there's joy, there's bliss, there's excitement about this moment. In fact, today I took a ride to Abiquiu. I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I drove up with my husband to Abiquiu, where Georgia O'Keeffe lived and created over 100 of her wonderful paintings. And we walked 3 miles in the blazing heat. This is over 100 degrees right now in Santa Fe. And so I am pretty hot right now. We just walked and walked until we got so close to that mountain, it was breathtaking. And they had memorial plaques right underneath that mountain to people who, were part of the beauty of that land and wanted to be remembered. And Georgia O'Keeffe has this amazing now, and she passed away, I think, in the 50s. But her impact of her art and the way she saw the land and interpreted the beauty of the landscape was incredible. And one of the things I remember her saying was, when you look at those mountains, they actually paint themselves, but then try to paint them yourself. then you try to paint them. That's a different story, because the beauty sometimes is so captivating and so awesome that have you noticed that when you try to take a picture of a sunset or a sunrise, it doesn't do it justice? No. Same thing when you paint. How are you going to paint God's beauty in a way that captures it, right? And then so you have to be very, very present when you do that. Yeah. So now I hope you got your pencil and paper, and we're going to start. I have a piece of paper here. This is what you call squiggle painting. Squiggle. You're going to take a pen, and you're not going to take it off the paper, okay? Or a pencil. But I don't want you erasing, okay? You're going to start at a point, and you're going to follow it, and you're going to make it so that it crosses over the difference. See? It crosses over. It's just flowy. And again, don't take your pencil off the paper, and see, maybe simple or as complex as you want, right? That's what you call a scribble picture. Now, I want to give you a couple minutes to start that, okay, as I talk. Just have fun. Don't worry about it. It's all for fun. It's enjoyment, okay? I'm just wanting you to realize within yourself that you can have fun and do this kind of work, and not, put yourself down, that negative talk that says, I can't do it. No, you can. Yes. Do you know, I love this quote. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. That's right. So I want you to think you can. I want you to now make that scribble painting or picture, okay? And see where it goes, right? So if you made a little bit of it right now, okay? Doesn't have to be like this at all. It's just an example of how you're overlapping shapes, okay? Now that you've done that, shouldn't have taken too long to do. It's very quick. I want you to take that same pencil or pen, and I want you to go inside each of these little spaces, and in that space, make a pattern. It could be dots, it can be circles, it can be squares, it could be stars, it can be lines, anything you want in the first shape. Okay? And when you're done with the first shape, go on to another shape and put in what you want. Don't repeat the same pattern, though. Put a different pattern in that shape. Okay? And then again, make it another shape, a different pattern. Just have fun. And if you have colored pencils, you can make them different colors. Or you can just do it with the pencil or pen now, and you can color it in later with different colors. Yeah. So there is no end to what you can do with that, you see, because if you allow yourself to just have fun, to tap into the child within yourself and not criticize yourself, that is key. Okay? Do not criticize yourself, because then you turn off the creative juices. My mom used to be very critical of her work. I grew up with a very critical mother who was an artist, and I learned very young that she didn't give herself enough credit. So she was always struggling with her pieces. she'd put it down and then she'd step back and she'd go, I don't know. But she gave me a lot of confidence in my abilities because she would say to me, you can create out of your head. I have to look at a reference. So I know, but I wished she had more confidence in herself. And in a way, it showed me that it really is. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. Because when she was in the zone and she was feeling good about it, she was dynamite. And she produced such beautiful paintings. Oh, I'll have to show you at a future show what her paintings look like. But I was able to create a lot of beautiful paintings because she gave me that courage. In fact, that's one of the things that I'm going to share with you is over time as an art student, which I went to the Art Center of Design, California, I read a book called The Courage to Create by Rollo May. He was a behaviorist, psychiatrist. He talked about how social courage was necessary, creative courage was necessary. And it's so important because in order to put yourself creatively out there in the world, no matter what it is, you need courage. If you're a public speaker, you're creating, or if you're a poet, right? A writer. And even if you're not really in the arts, you're still in a profession that you have to create on the spot, then you need courage to get that out there and not be afraid of the reaction, right? That's important. So I know Edwin Land, his name is Edwin Land, said, an essential aspect of creativity is not being afraid to fail. So when we stop ourselves in the process, when we have this negative thought, we say, oh, I can't do it. I'm not even going to try. You just cut yourself off totally. Yeah. Now today I could have said, oh boy, it's blazing hot out here. I'm not going to go for a walk, all the way down there. But my husband said, no, it's mind over matter. Come with me. And so I did. And there was that moment of, well, do I really want to do this? With just a thermos of water. What if I run out of water? You think of all these things, which is not wrong, because especially if you don't want to faint, you need your water and you need your electrolytes and you need to be prepared. You have to have your hat, right? Your right shoes. But in the meantime, when you prepare, just like an artist puts out painting, puts out the paint on the canvas, on the palette, right? She's ready. She's got her brush. She's got the Damara varnish. She's got the turpentine, and she's ready to start. And so it is preparation to be fully engaged in the act, whatever it is. Okay. So I hope you're coming along with your squiggle drawing. I'm going to just sort of show you what I came up with my squiggle drawing. So this was fun because, I saw some paw prints on my bottle and I went, oh, I can use some paw prints, And I love using black and white. I love to fill it in. And then I'll probably fill the rest of these little squigglies in with black as well. And then maybe I'll go over it with some color, maybe shade the background or something. But I hope you took time to do some of that and to have fun. And that's what it's about. It's about the joy of creating. And the joy is really the essence of who you are. That's your essential nature, is this, aliveness that you have in this beautiful place of presence. So I'm going to continue a little bit about talking about the creative process. So there was a book on how to create, and this talked about brainstorming, right? So let's say you have a situation and you're coming up with a solution and you want to come up with maybe many solutions. So what you do is you brainstorm, without worrying about the validity of it, or is it realistic or even if it's practical. Just throw out the ideas. And sometimes it's best to go with a group of people and brainstorm because it really gets the juices going, right? You should throw it out, Anything that you think, just as crazy as it is, just put it down, write it out, right? Then you look at, okay, what's the low-hanging fruit? What's the low-hanging fruit here? Maybe let's figure out maybe 5 to 10 of those that we want to investigate, okay? And that's how advertising agencies do it. They have think tanks. They do it all the time. And they get good at it. They get good at having fun about it. And then you say, okay, so this seems to be a little bit more doable. Okay, let's look at this. And then narrow it down a little more. And narrow it down to maybe 2 or 3. And then sit on it. Don't decide. Just let it go to, just rest. Do something else. And when that happens, your mind, your subconscious mind is starting to come up with the number one solution. That's going to pop up out of the blue, just like Einstein had his amazing, ideas would pop up when he was shaving. So you'll find all of a sudden a solution to a problem. Like the aha moment comes, right? Why didn't I think of that before? That was right in front of my eyes. I can't believe I didn't think about that. Have you had that idea? I'm sure all of you listening you have had that. You have absolutely had those brilliant ideas. And you wonder where they came from, right? But they came from your unconscious mind working behind the scenes, creating this perfect solution or opportunity, if you want to call it that. And that's how it works. So if you ever want to get the creative juices flowing, start brainstorming, okay? And get a whole bunch of friends together and just have fun with it. Yeah. Right. So I'm glad I can share that with you. Einstein, as brilliant as he was also so aware of what creativity is and the importance of it. His beautiful quotes, if you look up Einstein quotes, you'll see that he'll say, imagination is more important than knowledge. Imagination is more important than knowledge. And I'm going to get that full quote. Let me see where that full quote is of his. Yes. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. See, he gets it. He got it, right? He understood the unlimited potential of a creative mind. Or even I don't like to use the word mind because mind is limited. The creative forces, energy that flows, right? Because you're no longer in your mind trying to come up with a solution. Because if you're forcing it, that's why people get writer's block or nothing is flowing because there's too much in their mind, their head. Their head is analyzing and judging and comparing and second guessing. So when that does not interfere, because that's really distraction. The mind is your distraction. So if you can just sit and meditate. Yeah, meditate. Just be quiet, still, close your eyes. Breathe in, breathe out. Not even focus anywhere on anything that is giving you any concern. Because if you're trying to come up with a solution from the place of the problem, you will not find it. It's a different energy. So if you're trying to create something, and I think advertising agencies, have, I'm sure many of these processes for their employees, because they have to constantly come up with those creative award-winning ideas for their clients, right? They have to come up with a slogan and a story about it. And some people get fired for the fact they can't come up with it anymore and they dry out. And it can be very, very tedious. But for those who really get this process of allowing yourself to be still and to wait for the opportunity for it to come, they get the answers very quickly because they have that process down. Yeah. Well, I'm going to share something now with you, and I really feel, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about the subject of creativity. So when I went to art school and I read that book called The Courage to Create by Rollo May, I realized there are two characters, and I'm looking for my little characters. There are two characters, courage and creativity, right? So here's creativity. And creativity is very colorful, as you can see. Actually, this is a costume that I created, a life-size costume that my daughter, this is my daughter in that costume. So she's actually also creativity. But I also have a cartoon character called Creativity as well that I'll show you. But she's amazing when she's dressed up in that character, and we go to book signings and she just has a ball. And everybody loves to take a picture with her. So that's creativity. Now, courage comes along all the time and has to be very, he's like, oh, yes, I love to be courageous. And there's creativity with courage. Yes, they love each other. Oh, absolutely. But we also realize that I spoke about the negative. We all carry within us positive and negative qualities that help or hinder the creative process. I already spoke about negative self-talk, but there is another book I read back in the 70s that really helped me solidify these characters and create my book and everything that went along with it. It was created by Abraham Maslow. It was written by Abraham Maslow, and the book is called The Hierarchy of Needs. And he talks about hierarchy of needs. Your basic needs are shelter, food, right, sleep. But beyond that, creativity thrives within a system of joy, happiness, positive energy. And it diminishes when you bring in elements like fear and anxiety and hate, negative energy, just wipes it out. It totally distracts you from the creative flow. So one of the characters is anxiety. Well, anxiety gets in the way all the time, and we sort of live right in a oh, he's got some gray hair on top of it. We live in an anxious world, don't we? With COVID and all that and everything that came with it. And a lot of people and a lot of children are very anxious. And so I have used anxiety. I have friends who are social workers who work with children with anxiety, and they have used my characters to help their children identify their emotion. And it's been really beautiful to say, what type of, what are you feeling now? And does anxiety play a part? Because then they can step outside they can step outside and view it and witness it and say, yeah, you know what? That is me right now. I feel that. And they can identify it and they can let it go. And that's the joy of that. It's a very exciting thing to be able to do that. Oh, and here's a lot of us live in fear, don't we? Oh boy. Fear just loves to play a lot of havoc in our lives. And when fear is around, creativity and courage, there's not a lot of hope for them if they allow fear and his negative cronies to get involved with them, because fear also has hate. Hate is around sometimes, and that's not good, right? So all these negative emotions, anxiety, hate. I have gloom and despair. Gloom, here's gloom. Yeah, he's pretty gloomy. Where's my despair? Despair, oh, there you are, despair. Okay. Gloom and despair, they're just sort of side by side. When you're like that, you don't feel like doing anything. Nothing. But hope comes along. Oh, isn't that funny? That's my name. Hope comes along, and brightens everybody up and goes, yes, you can do it. I'm here to show you the way. Yep. So these characters help children in a big way discover how to be more creative and how to really approach it in a way that makes sense for them. As well, I think if you're an adult and you're sort of understanding this process too, maybe you're also saying, hey, you know what? I can be creative too. So this is Jackie and Creativity Go to School. That's Creativity with Jackie. That's a pretend little camel. And all the other guys are on the back. You can get that on Amazon or go to my website. And this is for kids, kindergarten, 8th grade. And you can see, pretty much all the illustrations that I did in this book. It took about a year to put them all together. But it was just a labor of love. And to have all these characters present in the story, showing that children can express themselves with the help of joy and happy and courage, and of course the main star, creativity. So there's a lot of different adventures that I've established with them. We're going to create a movie soon with them, and I think it's something that we all can relate to because we all have those qualities within ourselves. We have a lot of different emotions, and we can feel it within our body when fear comes into play. When we get anxious about something, we can feel it. But I think that when we put these characters in front of us and realize that they're just on the surface, we are witnessing these characters within us, but we're not attaching ourselves to them. And in a way, this is very much what I talk about every week on Moment to Moment, is being the witness of our personal identity with all of our craziness, right? With all the craziness that we see appearing as we go with, our day can be filled with fear sometimes. We wake up, maybe we have a panic attack, or maybe we're scared about going to work, or we're, we have a test that we have to take. And so when we recognize that within ourselves, we don't have to attach to it. We can now put ourselves as space, allowing gloom and despair and fear to pass by. Let fear just pass on by like a cloud. And the more that we can do that, we can still remain this joyful presence. Wow. Isn't that something to think about or not think about? The mind sort of does not quite understand any of this place of spaciousness, because mind is all about not only ego, but it's all about form. It's all about form. It's all about being important in the moment, getting your attention in the moment, saying, wait a second, how are you going to do that? You can't do that. You don't have any experience. You're not an artist. No, don't even begin, right? But when you see the thought, you can let it go and not attach to it. And isn't this good for everything you're doing in life? When you go to work and all of a sudden you have a negative thought, oh, I don't measure up, or I won't get the raise, or blah, 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 that story that you're, right? And then you create more of a story around that. And then then you're telling your friends, oh, I won't get that raise. And then you're really making that a form. Then you're really creating that negative energy around that thought that you just had. So if you don't do that, if you just allow that thought to pass and stay in your presence, alert presence, it doesn't have any attraction anymore. And then you just enjoy the day. And that's the practice. These are tools for you to overcome everything, to not attach to these thought forms. Eckhart Tolle talks about it as entities, little entities that get inside of you. I guess we can call these little guys entities, right? And you don't want them around. No, you know, in fact, there was a great exercise that I did with one of the children, and I had them draw anxiety. Had them draw anxiety. First, I said, "How are you feeling?" And they're saying, "Well, I'm a little bit nervous, whatever." Okay, here, draw in this figure, anxiety. Now, why don't you just rip it up? Just crumple it up, rip it up, and let it go. And after they did that tactile, uh, ripping it up and, blowing it away and being in that presence of understanding that that is just momentary, it's all it is. It's momentary. And then all of a sudden, it's gone. Where'd it go? Well, that's what thought does. It comes and it goes. Emotions come and they go. Feelings, perception, sense perceptions. One minute you're seeing this, the next minute you're seeing that, right? And unfortunately, a lot of us are getting distracted all the time by things that pop up in our vision. Oh, I see that. Oh, off you go, right? Instead of, wait, why am I going there? I'm supposed to be here now. I'm supposed to be working on my project or whatever. And all of a sudden the phone rings, right? Or an email comes across or a text, and you're going, wait a second, what was I doing? So how not to be distracted and sleepwalk through life? You heard it in the opening promo. Are you sleepwalking through life? Do you really know the essential nature of who you really are? That you are more than this body, mind. You're more than the person with a very limited view of the world. And as Einstein said, imagination encircles the world because it's so big, it's so huge. You just have so much fun when you can be creative and imagine a life full of whatever you want to imagine it to be. You can imagine something into existence. Did you know that? That's what it's called, law of attraction. If you are really aware and you are in the moment and you're visualizing a future that you want to have clearly, and you write that down and you do this several times during the day, and you have this beautiful image, like really clear, very clear, it will happen. That's law of attraction. You created that, and now it's flowing to you. In a way, being in Santa Fe, things are happening so fast because the energy is so high here. People can't believe I've only been here for 5 weeks, 6 weeks, because I'm so busy. So many things. People are approaching me to do this and that. Oh, I heard you sing the Star Spangled Banner. They asked me to sing the Star Spangled Banner at the July 4th event. And from there, somebody wants me to sing at their Jewish choir thing. And then I went to a place and I sang with this. I met this pianist that was friends with my old friend, Buddy Charles from Chicago. And now a band wants me to join them to be a singer in their band. It's just too many crazy things. I mean, one thing after another, after another, after another. Yeah, and I'm not doing anything. I'm just going and having fun. And then people are coming to me. And that's how it sort of works, where there's no effort. And I was on this beautiful platform, WLTK-DB, because I was also at a beautiful place of wanting to express this oneness presence. And I met this person who invited me on her show. Yeah. And now I have a show. So there are opportunities always flowing in that place of your divine self. It's always there. It's flowing effortlessly because your negative mind is not in your way anymore. And that's And yet you may have negative thoughts. I'm not saying you won't be without negative thoughts, but at least you won't attach yourself to it, and you won't start following it and believing it. Most of the time, we believe those thoughts, and then we continue that belief, and that becomes our habitual pattern behavior. I'll take the example of my mother, right? If I believed that I also was not a good artist, then I would have followed her pattern behavior. I would have looked at my work, ripped it up, or started over, or not feel satisfied in it, not have created my book, that's for sure. So if you have parents, which we all do, that you're getting that tape. Remember, we get that little tape. Oh boy, I sound just like my father. I sound just like my mother. Where did that come from? That's your pattern behavior at work. And you don't have to follow that. You don't have to hook into that. You can say, oh, that's what my mom used to say, or that's what my father used to say. Oh boy, I'm patterning them. And the minute you realize that, you wake up. You wake up. And now you're seeing it clearly in the lens of perception walking by. You're just, oh, there it is again. There was that voice. Ah, but that's not me. And I can still be very still here and know that that doesn't define me. So I hope that you're learning some things as something that's resonating. Hopefully you're hearing some words that go deeper, and that you realize more and more and more your deeper essential dimension. As Eckhart Tolle would say, your deeper dimension is that stillness. And the presence that you bring to the moment, this moment is the only moment you're ever going to have. This moment. That's it. And you can't get to the future. Where is the future? It's in your imagination, isn't it? You're imagining the future. You're projecting into the future. Yeah. But if you're projecting into the future, where are you now? You're not here. You're there. You're there all of a sudden. Oh my goodness. Wait a second. I was here and now my mind just took me over into the future. And then sometimes, what does it do? It takes you into the past. And you start regurgitating what happened maybe a minute ago or last week or whatever. Now you're in your mind and not here now. And how can you awaken to that knowing and be present as much as you can? That is the question. So we have some minutes left here to really talk clearly of how you can be more present and allow that creative flow to happen and your inspiration to flow even further and more, again, with ease. Okay. So I want you to just take a moment, whatever you're doing. If you're still drawing, you're still drawing the scribble and coloring in the things. That's great. I'm glad. I hope you continue to do that. That'd be amazing. Yeah. And you can also let me know, tune in, let me know that you did it and how you feel about it and maybe what happens. Maybe you're taking art lessons now, or you're going to do more creative activities in your life. That would be a great start. Okay. So, but right now let's get comfortable in our chair. And I want to say that we're not really going to do anything, even though I'm sort of indicating we're going to just sort of quiet our minds a little bit, but we're not going to be working at it. I want you to listen to my voice. I want you to turn off any TV, any radio, any computer that's not beneficial. Turn off your phone or mute it. I don't want any distractions right now for you, okay? And just be here now. If you want to close your eyes, you can close your eyes. That also helps with less distraction. And I want you to take a deep breath in and let it out. And another deep breath in. And let it out. And so I'm going to ask you to leave your mind outside. I'm going to ask you to just leave your mind outside. Whatever that means to you. In other words, whatever thoughts you have, if they come up, they're going to just pass by like a cloud. But if you can just be present here without the mind chatter, if you can possibly do that for just 30 seconds or a minute, that's all. So that you're empty. You're just empty. Empty, empty, empty. Just here. Just noticing your breath, nothing else. And the more that you can be in your body, maybe you want to put your hand on your heart. Just feel the hand on your heart and in your body. It allows you to be more present. And when you take a breath, maybe you feel your chest rising and going back down. And that's it. That's all there is right now, is that witnessing of your breath as it rises and falls in the body. That's all that's here. And your person is not here. Your identity is not here. It's outside. You can pick it up later. I'm sure you will. But right now, all there is now is this body sitting on a chair, with the hand on the heart, breathing in and out. That's all. As you hear my voice, that's your focused awareness right there. There's a feeling of spaciousness, if you want to call it that, where you are not identified with anything, because you are not the age, you are not your sex, you are not your profession, you are not that. All you are here is presence. And there must be a little bit of a, maybe a more peaceful, content feeling that you have. Maybe you're feeling a little bit more spaciousness, lightness, more energy. Maybe focusing in on the body's energy or aliveness. You can also feel aliveness in your hands. If your eyes are closed, just put your hands out in front of you and sense the aliveness in your hands without looking at it, without looking at them. Can you feel aliveness in your fingertips or in the palm of your hand? I can feel the tingling sensation of the aliveness of my hands. And the more that you can bring presence to it, or focus, you'll begin to feel that. And you can do that with any part of your body. You can do it from the tip of your head all the way down to your toes. And this is something that you could practice. You can do it just 1 minute a day. Take that moment to just close your eyes and feel into your body and breathe. And that will relax any tension in your body just for that one brief moment. And you can do that throughout the day. Take that one moment throughout the day, allowing yourself to breathe. And then you can increase it to 2 minutes a day. And notice how calmer and more peaceful you are right now. Sometimes you fall asleep with this type of meditation because you don't realize how stressed out you are until you all of a sudden allow the stress to leave you. And then you happen to just fall asleep, right? But if you can stay awake while I'm talking, while you're breathing, and become more alert, because we are really talking about above the personal identity, not below. The aliveness, not the sleepy, low energy. We want to lift our energy. And in fact, if you do this for 5 minutes, it has more benefits than taking a nap. And I can testify to that too. It's amazing how much clearer, more peaceful and alive and awake you feel after just 5 minutes of this. And you can go about your day feeling more energy. It has so many benefits. It's just incredible. And again, if you feel the stillness within and the joy within, there is nothing you need to be doing. You don't need even to be drawing or creating, because that just flows through you. And maybe an inspiration comes. Maybe there's maybe a thought, an inspiring thought arises. I remember when I was younger, I used to love to do knitting or weaving or you name it. Maybe something comes up for you that you want to investigate. Why don't I try that again? I used to love to do that before. That's where where the energy of your beingness starts to activate. And then you find other things to energize you as well, to activate that creative power within you. And turn on music and start dancing around the room, and have fun. I do it all the time. I love it. I have Alexa, and who doesn't have Alexa? Tell her to play your favorite song and sing along or dance along or draw along or whatever. Because that's where you get, not only are you feeling young again, because that's your child within you that's coming up. It's not like you're childish, you're childlike. Okay. Yeah. You've got the energy now to go out and maybe hear music, and maybe cook something you haven't cooked in a while and experiment in the kitchen a little bit. Again, you start to investigate and experiment with your life because you have the energy now to do it. And you have the courage. You have the courage. Where's my courage? You have the courage to do it. Yeah. You have the courage. You have the creativity. There you go. Right? You have the courage, your creativity, and you have the hope that it's possible. It's all possible. Yes. Why? Because if you can, you can. If you say you can, you can. And if you say you can't, you can't. Okay? I hope it registers after how many times I've said it today. because it's true. And your mind out of the way, get your mind out of your way, especially negative self-talk, and start enjoying your life. Enjoy your life from the place of joy that you are. And continue to investigate and experiment. We used to experiment a lot as a child, right? Finger painting, going in the mud, shuffling around, doing all kinds of things, right? Do that again. See how it feels. And if it feels silly, keep doing it. Yes, keep being silly. Being silly is good, especially when you get older. People love it when you're silly. It's contagious. It really is. Absolutely. So I want to announce a new format to my show coming up next week. I will be at the last 15 minutes of the show. If you want, you can ask anything you want. Ask me a question. It's called Ask Hope. And you can also, look at send me questions you want me to answer on the show. You can contact me at linda@lindahope.com, LYNDA at LYNDA Hope, HOPE.com. So ask away. If you're not getting clarity around this, if I'm going too fast, or you really want more meditation on my show, if you want a certain topic that wasn't discussed so far, whatever it is that is consistent with being presence in the moment, being the essence, the true nature of who you are. This is really, we're talking about questions not about our identity, not the body-mind experience. How do I become a better artist? Blah, blah, blah. No, that's your identity. I really want the questions to reflect more of a higher consciousness kind of question. Like how can presence be more available to me throughout the day? That kind of thing. But I'm not going to be like Ask Ann Lander, where I'm going to solve your relationship problems necessarily. But if you do have a situation where you want to be more compassionate and you want to be less attached to those habitual negative thoughts, that's the question that I would love to see in my emails. And sometimes we do have to actually go into the person and dissolve those negative behaviors. So I shouldn't say don't send me personal stuff, I guess. Send me what you feel you're compelled to send me, and we'll go from there, okay? But it's such a joy to be here with you every week, and I hope that I shed some kind of light and love in your direction so that you can also feel that love and light energy within you, and that you can share that with others. Somebody said, be the change you want to see in the world, right? So as we elevate, we can help others just by being present for them, just by being in their, vicinity. You don't even have to say anything, because they can feel the glow within you. They can feel the excitement and happiness within you. And so when you see other people smiling too, look at them and acknowledge that they're also smiling. And they'll look back at you and say, wow, she's smiling at me. Isn't that nice? Just a little thing like that can raise your energy. Hold a door open for somebody. Say thank you. Thank you. Say I appreciate you. Bring that kind of consciousness to others, and they'll also feel conscious, and they'll wake up a little bit because you're there. So again, I'm so happy that you listened. Please, if you want to continue the scribble, drawing, painting, whatever you want to do, have fun and allow yourself to be present as much as you can throughout your day. Okay, you're listening to Moment to Moment. I'm your host, Linda Hope, and please tune in other shows on WLTK-DB as well. We've got an amazing group of people here that are all here to help you. So we'll see you next week. Bye.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.
you.